Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. So I thought I'd give another update on the field dressing station WW1 diorama that I'm doing, and I wanted to show you the downpipes that I've added to the building, and you can probably guess why I put those on there. It's basically because, if you can see down here, it's the joint where the sections of plastic wall butted up to each other, and I didn't particularly want to use filler on those, so I thought I'd hide them with a couple of downpipes. Now all the downpipes is one of these Q-tips. These are the paper type, so they're made out of roll paper, and I just used to add filler to the Panzer 4. So what I did was I pulled the wool off the ends, and then cleaned the ends up a bit, and then cut them to size. The other thing I wanted to do was add these brackets, just to give an idea that that's how they're secured to the wall, and I'll show you how I did those. So it's very simple, guys. All I did was I used some of the foil from a wine bottle, cut it into a width that I wanted, and then I just pressed it around another section of the one of these Q-tips, and then I had that much hanging over that side, so I just cut this side to hopefully the same length. Obviously it was still bent over there, so I'd got the length right, and then I'd get the foil, move it onto another part of this, fold it over this way, and cut it again. And that's how I managed to get the 4 brackets, as I say, for the diorama. So that's how the dio is looking at the moment. I don't know whether I showed you this. What I did was I put, well, it's supposed to look like a piece of rope that comes from the sandbags to a grommet within the tarpaulin, and that's how it's secured to that, so it doesn't flap all over the place. And because I'd done that, this piece here that I had folded and glued back here, I actually folded it back over the rope because there was nothing to stop it from not doing that, so I thought it would be natural for it to fall that way. I did one the other side as well. This time what I tried to show was that the rope was going into the grommet there, and because there was very little of the tarpaulin above the rope, you've only got a little like flap of canvas that's just lying on the top of the rope there. I was going to add the polyfiller surface, but I haven't finished doing the ambulance yet, and obviously I want to set it, or at least get the tyre marks for the ambulance, so I know that it will sit in the dio as opposed to sitting on top, so that'll have to wait a bit. I have cut up 1/72 resin drum, oil drum, and it'll be put down here, and I've put a bit of canvas on the top of that as well to make it look like it's cushioned a bit for a soldier who's sitting on it. So I thought as well I would show you my progress on the soldiers. So you may recall that the resin soldiers come like this from 3D scale. This one I think maybe 1/76 scale. So what you have to do is clean up all those sprues. Now thankfully they do clean up quite quickly, and they do break, although I tried cutting them with the sprue cutters wherever possible, and they do break at the points where they meet the figure, and they break quite cleanly as well, so that's quite good. So I'll show you the figures I'm going to use. I will probably end up using all of them, but we will see as the diorama progresses. So the first figures are possibly the main ones, where we've got 2 stretcher bearers carrying a wounded soldier out of the field dressing station. What I've done there is I've sprayed them all Chaos Black from Games Workshop, and then I've dry brushed, quite a heavy dry brush as you can see, the British uniform, or English uniform. I think some people call it English uniform, I think it should be British uniform, over the figure. So that will give me an idea where I should be painting the uniform colour in a more solid way, and where the recesses are to try and avoid them. You will paint closer to the recesses than where a dry brush will get in, so you only leave the very finest of recesses black at this point. You could just rely on doing a wash so you just paint all these completely the uniform colour, and then do a wash to pick out the shadows on the figure. So that's the first one. This next one is a chap who's holding a canteen. I think he's actually, you can pose him so he's kneeling beside somebody in the stretcher. I've got the other stretcher guy I'll show you in a bit. I could even make out that this is a padre or something who's helping out at the first aid station. Here's the guy on the second stretcher. Not much done to him because obviously he's mostly covered in a blanket. I think the blankets were grey during World War One, so that will be the main colour on him. And then with the khaki canvas lining for the stretcher. Here we have a guy with some crutches, and so he'll be standing, perhaps talking to somebody. Interestingly, he's still carrying all his baggage apart from his rifle. So yeah, but that'll be a nice figure to paint up with all that detail on there. So next figure is a wounded soldier with a bandaged arm and a bandaged head. He will possibly be the one that sat on the oil drum that's been made into like a bench or a stool. Next figure is a figure that reminds me of General Haig, but I'll try and paint him up as the ambulance driver, although he may not actually sit on the model itself. So the last three figures, we've got a chap who's basically sat on the floor. What I might do is put a stretcher under him, so he looks like he sat on a stretcher. We've got an infantryman with rifle. He's basically walking past the field station. He's not wounded himself. And then the final figure is this one, and we can see that his arm's bandaged. But he's like practically his full gear as well. So there you go, guys. That's progress so far. Obviously, these figures are only on those bases at the moment to aid with the painting of them. They're super glued on there, so what I can do once I finish painting them is carefully get a blade under their feet and take them off. But as I say, this one will be the main one and actually be they'll be stood as if they just come out to the first aid station. So that will probably be the focal point, and the ambulance will be over here, and I think most of these other guys will be over in this area. So thanks ever so much for watching. Thank you guys for all the kind encouragement and comments that you've left. I do appreciate it. I hope your Monday went well. Look after yourselves, and I'll catch up with you soon.